I really fell in love with baking because I fell in love with eating cookie dough. It wasn't until I thought about really making it a business at Milk Bar that I was like, oh wait, it's so much deeper. Can I just say about long distance runners, when you found another long distance runner, you're like, I can see into your soul. I get you. The runner's high, right? Like a baker's high when you give someone your baked goods.
It's a conscious decision to have dessert, right? And like to be the thing that somebody chooses to eat. That is a really special thing.
Dessert specifically, it's like, it's not part of the food pyramid, but there's something about this sliver of a moment that we invite dessert into lives. That is awesome.
Hi guys, welcome back to Post Run High. I am so excited to get into today's episode with Christina Tosi. If you guys don't know, Christina is the founder of Milk Bar, and Milk Bar is an iconic bakery here in New York City. She is one impressive woman, and I am just so excited for you guys to get to know her. This is going to be a little bit of a short episode, and that's just because Christina had around 25 to 30 minutes with us after our run to sit down and do this podcast. And if you like founder stories, especially female founder stories, then I think you're going to love today's episode. So excited for you guys to listen to it. Let's get into today's episode with Christina. Christina, welcome to Post Run High.
Oh my gosh, I'm feeling amazing.
Well, I'm so excited to have you here. Guys, Christina and I just ran a couple miles in Williamsburg, and we ended at her infamous Milk Bar location there in Williamsburg.
There's like no greater feeling than going on a run and then eating cookies and then being like, cool, let's just hang out in some lounge chairs and talk about life.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's so funny. I've been telling you this since we've met this morning. I've been a fan of Milk Bar for so many years. You guys, you started Milk Bar in 2008. It's so impressive what you've built. And I love knowing that you're a long distance runner. That's something I never knew. And I feel like I wish I had known.
Can I just say about long distance runners, when you found another long distance runner, you're like, I can see into your soul. I get you. Thank you for you. And also we're going to be connected forever because we're both crazy enough to love the same thing.
It's like, now I know why you're so successful.
Also, have you ever met? Yeah. Truly.
Right?
I mean, one of my things is like, I wish I could ask in the interview process if people were long distance runners, because a long distance runner is the greatest hire you could ever make because they have kind of like the infinite game mindset, and you just never stop. You never say die. Like there's something about the longevity of going after something you love and being able to live in discomfort because you're here for the journey of it. You're here to get somewhere. But also in long distance running, there's never really a finish line. You're just obsessing over your next long run.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. And I feel like that shows up so much in what you've built at Milk Bar and how you guys have over the years continued to innovate. And guys, just a little preface, we're doing a little bit of a shorter episode today because Christina is going back because she has an hour and a half long tasting after this.
We have so many great ideas on the bench at Milk Bar. It's like the agony and the ecstasy of it. We go at all of these different ideas, whether like they're flavor story ideas or format ideas or partnerships that we're working on or because you just never know how long it's going to take to nail a recipe. That's the best part of baking and the hardest part of baking, I think. You just never know. You know when it's done. We sort of have this like, if we're not obsessed with it, we can't expect you to be, but you just don't know how long the process is going to take. And every week we do like an hour and a half long dessert tasting, which is like so brilliant. And you also, for me, I have to remember to pace myself because I love dessert so much. An hour in, I'm like, wait, we still have 30 more minutes of things to taste, to tinker. And then it becomes a little bit of this, like, you want to make sure your palate is bright and fresh and in the right mindset. But it's also great to be a long distance runner because there's always room for more dessert.
Yeah, it's so true. And I can't even imagine being in your tastings because guys, today after our run, we sat and we had 5 cookies. Was it 5 different cookie options? And I started with the chocolate chip cookie. If you guys know, you know, I love chocolate chip cookies. And after I had the original gooey chocolate chip cookie, I was like, how could it get better than this? And then every single one after that, I was like, wait, was this better than the chocolate chip cookie? So I can't imagine being in your tastings because truly it must be like one great thing after the next.
It's fun.
What flavors are we hyperfixating on right now?
We're going into the holiday season, which I actually think is the hardest season to create and innovate for, because we are so conditioned to think about food and nostalgia through the holiday season. Like, it's fall, so it must be apple or pumpkin or cinnamon or spice, right? Okay, it's like the Christmassy December era. Okay, it's gingerbread, it's eggnog, it's peppermint, it's chocolate. We don't, it's really actually hard to get people out of those flavor boxes. So then it becomes more of a challenge to go, okay, what haven't we thought of? What haven't we created? A little bit like backing ourselves into a corner with these, I'm air quoting because I do love these flavors, limited flavors of the seasons. But that's really, that also makes the job really fun. But we're like hyper fixated in the fall, winter of it. And then we're also hilariously, it's almost like running a magazine where you're like, we're fixating on Valentine's Day, even though it is early fall at best right now. Like, we sweat a little bit. We schwitzed a little bit outside on our run, you know? And I'm already thinking like, okay, how do we really think about like Valentine's Day in the right ways? But it's fun. You get to think about like what flavors will my future self and Kate's future self and everyone's future self, what will we be excited about? What will we be curious about? What will we want to like get up and race out for dessert, or race to order dessert online to arrive at my doorstep? What will that be? And that's a fun part of the job too.
Yeah, it's like choose your own adventure. You know, what I was getting excited about as I was walking through, we were at your storefront, which in Williamsburg has this like massive, storage unit basically in the back where you guys are making a lot of food. Yeah. And
it's like a warehouse that you wouldn't know is there.
That's the word.
11,000 square feet of space.
Yeah.
And it's everything from all of our walk-in fridges and freezers to where we do a lot of our like distribution, to where we R&D anything and everything that goes on the menu, where we shoot it. Like, it really is like the creative hub of Milk Bar. One of many, but a really important one. And yeah, it's like, oh, it all happens. That's the best part of living in New York City. You're like, no matter where you walk, you're walking on this like beautiful, fun, sacred, exciting, energetic ground that someone creative is doing something exciting and will share it with the world.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And I'm so excited to get into like what you built and how you built it, because guys, Christina started Milk Bar when she was 26 years old. Can you believe that? Everybody listening, what were you doing at 26? I don't know. I don't know what I was doing, I guess. But 26 years old, you built this massive company. But I just have to say really quickly, I saw a little leprechaun figurine in your warehouse, and I immediately started thinking about St. Patrick's Day. And then I think I got a peep at the tasting table, and I don't know if this cookie will ever come out, but there was something green, and I was just immediately thinking about, I know that's probably Christmas, but I was like, St. Patrick's Day.
Oh my gosh, I love you. You are very much the like always looking for a spark, and the like any reason to celebrate a day is totally reasonable. St. Patrick's Day. My elementary school growing up was called Limbrook, home of the leprechauns. So St. Patty's Day was really big.
Are you Irish?
No. My Tosi is Northern Italian, like this red, it's like Swiss Alps.
I wasn't sure what you were going to say, what nationality you were going to say after you said schwitzing, because normally I'm married to somebody that's Jewish, and like his family's always saying schwitzing. So I'm like, is she Jewish? Is she Italian? I don't know.
You've been in New York, you've been in New York long enough, you must know what schwitzing is.
Right. So true. Okay. So let's go back to the early days. So you grew up in Ohio, and you grew up in a family that loved to bake and cook, right? So like, tell us a little bit about your childhood and then how you ended up in New York City building Milk Bar.
My mom and dad are both from Ohio. They were both raised in Ohio, Midwest.
Columbus.
Real big fan.
Cincinnati.
My mom was from a small town between Columbus and Cincinnati, like just small rural town. It's called Port William. For sure, the only port running through it is a very small creek. But like dairy farmers, cattle farmers, soybean, corn, just like salt of the earth. And my dad from just outside of Cleveland, Berea area. And I was raised with this just Midwestern sensibility, right? Not fancy, not fussy. We never, like, when you're going out to a restaurant in my mom's family, you're driving 20 minutes to go to Wendy's in like a beautiful way, which means that everything that you fuel your body with, it happens at home. It's at the table, right? And so you cook for every meal, because how else are you going to, stay alive and feed your big family? And the matriarchs in my family, so my grandmas, my aunts, my mom, they love to bake, but we're talking like nothing fancy, right? Like oatmeal cookies rolled in confectioner's sugar and brownies and lemon bars, like this apple pie, apple dumplings, salt of the earth stuff. And that's where I definitely fell in love with. I fell in love with baking and the like making something, bringing it to life. But really, I fell in love with eating cookie dough. My grandma's oatmeal cookie dough. And she would always make oatmeal cookies because she's like, oatmeal cookies are healthier than chocolate chip cookies. So
naturally.
I mean, are they? Who knows? But like if grandma says so, yes.
Yeah.
And so I really fell in love with baking because I fell in love with eating cookie dough, like sneaking the cookie dough. But what I didn't realize until much later in life was that these other parts of being raised in this Ohio community with baked goods was really, we wouldn't eat dessert like every night. We would bake these things and then our baked goods would become like conduit for community in the outside world. So we'd bring, a plastic baggie with a brownie in it to a neighbor that was sick, or, a platter of these cookies or an empty oatmeal container full of cookies to like the old folks home or to the county fair or what have you. And I didn't realize or understand or even quite acknowledge that spirit of connectivity that the baked goods brought, and like kind of the runner's high, right? Like a baker's high when you give someone your baked goods and like the feeling and the emotion. I didn't realize that I was obsessed with it until like long after, went to college, studied math and Italian, was like, oh my gosh, I have to be a grown-up now. I have to like pay my own way. What does this look like? And I was like, I don't actually want a desk job. I want to make cookies for the rest of my life, thinking that it was really just so I could have an excuse to like be on my feet, be creative, eat cookie dough. It wasn't until I thought about really making it a business at Milk Bar that I was like, oh wait, it's so much deeper than just loving cookie dough. It doesn't remove the fact that I'm obsessed with cookie dough, but it's like so much deeper. It was like hiding in plain sight the whole time.
Well, it's so true. And I love that you said like the high that you get from giving somebody the baked goods that you made, right? And it's like when you make something that somebody eats and says, wow, that was really good. It's like them saying, this has stood out to me from everything else I ate that day. Like that is a really special thing. So it makes sense why you loved that so much. And it's cool.
Also, Kate, here's my other like kicker on top of that. Cause I do love to feed. I love to cook. So I love to feed people in general.
And you're a mom now. So
yeah, exactly. I'm the
feeding
dinners,
the kids.
Yeah, I'm feeding the little ones, feeding the big ones. Dessert specifically, it's like, it's not part of the food pyramid. It's not 3-round meals. You do not we have to eat to stay alive. We don't have to eat dessert, which is amazing. It means that dessert is an opt-in course. It is the opt-in course. And when you're opting in, I don't know, maybe you're opting in because you had a really bad day and you're just trying to like escape, or you had an okay day and this is going to make it better, or you had a freaking rocking day and this is the cherry on top. But there's something about this sliver of a moment that we invite dessert into lives that is like all the more special and poignant and emotional. And we don't take that like invitation in lightly at Milk Bar. I mean, we don't take ourselves too seriously by any stretch of the imagination, but like that, there's something in that part of dessert that is awesome.
Yeah, because it's a conscious decision to have dessert, right? And like to be the thing that somebody chooses to eat. Like they're like, I really want a birthday truffle.
Yeah. When was the last time you were like, I want a birthday, you know what I mean? Like
the last time I was like, I want a birthday truffle, I can tell you, I was living in West Village. I was subleasing a room in my friend's apartment and I was on one of my runs and we ran past Milk Bar. Actually, I did a run where I ran into Milk Bar with somebody when I was doing an ice cream tour. And that was the first time I had the cereal milk soft serve ice cream. But I think it was after doing that run, I had said to Jeremy, my husband, I was like, we need to go back to Milk Bar in West Village, the West Village location, and get birthday truffles.
Can I also say cereal milk soft serve, the best. You ready for the best kept secret about cereal milk soft serve? A whole portion of it. This is also what I love about dessert. There's all these like hidden secrets. A portion of cereal milk soft serve is 145 calories. Like everyone eats it in a way that's like, oh, I really shouldn't be having, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, the treat yourself can really be like a treat yourself. And also the like, don't do that. Don't let the other, just like release yourself to it. And don't let the other voices in your head do anything other than just like go away.
Also the naming, the way you named your desserts, they bring about this like sense of nostalgia. Like everybody can think about, I mean, unless you're like a psycho and you don't eat your cereal with milk. Do you eat your cereal with milk?
Oh, yeah.
Thank
always,
God. Okay. but like most people
are
can
eating cereal without milk.
Yeah, some people do. They put a little.
I mean, maybe if you're like trail mix on a hike snack, I get that. If you don't have milk, totally. But if you have milk and you're eating your cereal without milk, are you eating it with melted marshmallows and butter in a cereal treat form? Like what? How are you eating it?
Guys, please comment down below. How are you eating your cereal? I know I'm dousing mine in milk. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode so far with Christina. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button so we can continue bringing you inspiring conversations here on Post Run High. Let's kind of bring it back. So post-college, you studied mathematics and Italian. Very different than, pursuing a career in the food industry. Although I could imagine that bits and pieces of those studies do translate, especially math, into baking and cooking and getting your ingredients right. When you first graduated, did you go straight to the French Culinary Institute?
So my math Italian, which I think is like just a good life lesson, I studied those two things. I had no practical reason to study them other than they were the classes that brought me joy. So my compass has always been, my true north has always been like, what brings you joy? What makes you happy? And in college, I was like, what are the classes you would take at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m.? And it was always like, oh, math and Italian. Like I would get out of bed being like, I love my life. Let's go. To those classes. Only I didn't really have a plan. Like when you're sort of like joy trailing, you're using joy as like, the thing that's paving your way. It doesn't always feel like it comes together, but when I finished college, it was always made very clear to us, being raised by these great parents. They were like, we got you. We're gonna, save up. We're gonna help with college. You have to be responsible. You got this many years in college. Do not mess around. Like we worked really hard. And when you get out, you're an adult. So good luck, like we raised you right. We're not going to make excuses. Only I got out and was like, ooh, so am I going to be an actuary or a translator? Like what is this? And I kind of used that same like joy trail compass and just asked myself like, okay, so I have really passionate parents about what they do as a living. And they're the kind of parents that, did the same job at the same place their whole career. So they modeled for me this. And so I was like, okay, so you get one job for the rest of your life and you have to be as passionate as they were and do it every single day until it's time to retire. And I was like, okay, so it's not math and it's not Italian. And I was like, it's baked cookies. That was the one answer that I had. And I say it now and I almost say it in a way that maybe is like, that's jokey, but I was serious in my brain. I was like, oh, it's just baked cookies. It's that simple. And I didn't think about how that sounded and I didn't think about it. I kind of say it in a way where it's almost pejorative when I say it out loud now, but I didn't think about it that way. I took myself seriously and I took that seriously. Only I was like, okay, so what is someone that bakes cookies for a living? What does that translate to as a profession? And I was like, oh, it means you're a pastry chef. And if you're going to be a pastry chef, and you're going to be the best pastry chef, because I'm not wasting my time in life. I'm not middling. I don't live in middle land, right? Like I want the most out of life and I expect a lot out of myself and my time. And if I'm going to go for it, I'm going to go for it. So I was like, I'm going to move to New York City and I'm going to go to the most intense pastry chef program. And I'm going to be a student by day and I'm going to work in the best restaurants by night. Because if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all the way in. I'm a cannonball spirit kind of person. And so I moved to New York City and enrolled in the French Culinary Institute. I didn't know anyone. I told my parents like right before I left because I was like, they are 10 out of 10, not going to like this. My mom was an accountant, most passionate accountant. This woman, imagine an accountant that brings you like gooey underbaked bar cookies every time she does your taxes and tells you it's going to be okay and like gives you a hug. That's her. And then my dad, you'll love this, was an agricultural economist setting dairy prices, dairy division, Department of Agriculture. None of this made any sense, of course, until I opened Milk Bar. And all of a sudden I had an accountant and a real like way into the dairy industry.
Dad, tell me where to get my milk from.
Basically.
Okay.
So moved to New York City, went to culinary school by day, worked in fine dining restaurants by night, worked for free in fine dining restaurants first, because to be clear, when you have no experience, you have no experience. And the premium that is put on experience is is real in New York City. And so I was like, I will work for whomever for free until there's a paying spot and until I'm actually, worth a paying spot. And I got my foot in the door and I hustled. I mean, I got my butt kicked and I hustled at the same time. And so many great lessons of like humility. I mean, when you work in restaurants, you're making mistakes in real time out loud for everyone to see. And it really character defining on a bunch of different levels.
Oh, yeah. And, what I think is so cool too about your journey is like, I think by having parents, because I come from a similar situation. My dad works in finance. My mom always worked for nonprofits. When you have parents that have very traditional jobs, even if you want to do something that's a little bit outside of the box from what your parents did, you still are somebody that's capable of like knowing how to stay in your lane and do what you need to do to like be good at whatever you're doing. And like, obviously it's like we're always striving to be the best, right? It's like, but who knows if that's actually going to happen? But at the end of the day, it's like, it's very cool knowing that you were like, I want to follow somewhat of a traditional route within this untraditional career that I'm trying to carve out for myself.
Totally.
And so I like knowing the steps that you took to hone your skills and learn from the best.
I was always raised to follow the rules, right? To be like an upstanding citizen. And what I realized as I'd gotten out of the house to go to college was I really learned how to play by the rules, but to also figure out where the lines were like a little softer, right? Like how to learn the rules and how to learn how and when to break the rules while still living within the system of rules. And I think that's a really big secret to life on so many different levels. I think following all the rules doesn't get you anywhere. I think you have to learn the rules. You have to learn when they're meant to be broken, when they can be broken, how to define you know what I mean? It's all based on like context and definition, but it is really interesting. I mean, I can only imagine what your parents think about what you do, right? Where there is this beautiful part. I'm now a parent where you sort of have to have the confidence of like, okay, I've been modeling to my family what the expectations are, but what success can and should look like. And you have to really learn how to turn the volume down on context anywhere else, because they were certain that if I didn't wear a suit to work, I was not going to be successful in life, right? Like it's very strange to be like, I'm going to go work, not even minimum wage, no wage. Because I really believe in what I do. And you have to really have the trust and the confidence as a parent, I think, to do that and to just know that when it doesn't make sense, it will in life also. Things that don't make sense, it's okay that they don't make sense right now. You just have to trust that you're on the path and it all makes sense. It all comes around together in the end, which is also so much of your story.
Yes, it's so true. And I'll tell you at another time, but my parents thought I was literally insane leaving my agency job to go run with a tripod and film with strangers on the streets of New York. And then it's transpired into this thing that when I had first started it, it wasn't an interview show. It was really a vlog on the run and I was having so much fun with it. And naturally it progressed into like, okay, well, when you get your 10,000 hours in talking to random strangers, you get pretty good at improv on the spot with them. And then all of a sudden you're having full-blown interviews while running. And then now you're doing a sit-down podcast. It's like, you never know what happens when you just follow that spark. And I think that's so true for you, right? And let's talk about the best piece of advice that you received from, it was David Chang. So David Chang, Momofuku, iconic New York City food franchises. Can I call it that? Is it a franchise?
Yeah.
Restaurant group?
Collection of restaurants?
Collection of restaurants.
We hate titles in the kitchen. I mean, we love titles because you have to know the brigade of it, but we're very like unfancy, unfussy people. We just want to cook and feed people.
Yeah. But when I first learned about you, it was through David Chang. So let's talk about how he was instrumental in your life and then in Milk Bar's growth and launch.
Man, Dave is like my brother still to this day. He's the person that like I would do anything for, and also we can get in like the most hilarious arguments about everything and nothing, which I think that's when you have like a real friendship, you know, a real kinship. What he was doing, I had worked in these fine dining restaurants and I ended up getting to like the top of the food chain in them. And then I'd always find myself then looking for another adventure. And I thought to myself, what is happening? Your whole point is to be the best pastry chef. Like that's your goal. And then you get to the top and you don't want to go any further. What's going on? And I realized that I really missed the simplicity of a baked good and the power. It's kind of like a Trojan horse into people's lives. Everyone knows what a cookie is. Everyone knows what a brownie is or an ice cream. And there was something about the simplicity of that format that didn't exist in fine dining. So I ended up getting out of fine dining, but I loved food. And I had met Dave because the food industry, like most industries, is infamously really tight-knit and really small. And Dave just needed help figuring out what the heck was happening in his restaurants. He had followed a similar career, gone into fine dining, culinary school, fine dining on the savory side, working for the best savory chefs in America. And at the end of the day, he kind of gave it all up and had opened this ramen shop, noodle bar. And through tinkering was just cooking the food he wanted to cook. He was basically democratizing savory food. It was, of course, a noodle bar, but it had a bunch of other random delicious dishes on it. And then he opened Sambar, very similar story. And what he was doing, he was cooking out loud. He was breaking every rule that was, quite frankly, meant to be broken, taking his craft from like very fine dining, savory culinary terms and bringing it back to a very accessible, very, very entry-level dining format. And I was just inspired by that. Like my favorite people that I ever worked for were always people that were doing something that was different. And from that, I was like just a sponge. I want to be in this environment. I don't know why. And then as I worked a little bit more and a little bit more, I was like, that's why I learn, pick it up. And what I realized through what Dave was doing, democratizing savory food, I was like, I'm drawn to this because this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want to be doing in dessert land, on baked goods land. And Dave, I was helping him build restaurants and run operations and by day. But like, if you're a baker, baker's got to bake. And so I would go home and bake, right? Like I'd work crazy hours and then I'd go home in the middle of the night and bake because it's just like my expression. I'd come in. Also, if you're a baker, you probably bake almost every day. You can't eat all the baked goods yourself. There's only so much room in your body. And you secretly love to feed people. And so I would just bring in whatever I had baked the night before to work the next day. And Dave one day was just like, I'm done. I'm done with you. In true sibling land. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about, dude. What's with the attitude? And he was like, you so clearly are meant to bake for a living. Like being here is a waste of time, basically. Like you should open your own place. You know exactly what it is in your head. I know you know. And like basically go. And we found a spot right next to Momofuku Sambar that was an old laundromat. And he was like, dude, let's go. Like this is your jumping off point. And we got in so many screaming matches about like, he was on some work trip, came back, we were about to open Milk Bar. I showed him the menu and he was like, what? Like, what is a compost cookie? And why aren't the cakes frosted on the sides? But also in a true way was like, I also know nothing about dessert, but I know it tastes good, right? So I fed him the cereal milk, his eyes bugged out of his head, and he was like, also just go for it, What else are you waiting for?
It seems like from what you're saying, there was all this positive momentum that really was like the tipping point. You were finally pushed into this direction of like, okay, we're launching Milk Bar. I want to get into how you named it Milk Bar and why. But first I want to ask, like, did you ever have a rock bottom moment where you were like—
So many rock bottom moments.
Yeah.
I mean, what I've learned about myself is the way my brain works is I do have the answers, but I oftentimes part of myself won't let myself see that I know the answers. So I need pushes. Like Dave was definitely like the push. I was like, oh shit, he's calling me on it.
Talk about an amazing mentor though, that the best mentors are the ones that tell you, that don't hold you back from reaching your potential.
100%. I mean, my husband even was like, we're in love, we're going to get married. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Okay. That's probably, you know what I mean? Like I live in la la land in my head and I need those forces that really like ground me and help me sort of like mark where I am in life. But my rock bottoms are everything from like working my way up in fine dining restaurants and like you're eating humble pie day in and day out. You're getting no sleep. It's demoralizing. And you can't let any of the other voices in your head out. You just have to be like, try again. I mean, it's a long distance running mentality. Just go at it again. I'll just go on another run. I'll get a little bit better tomorrow, right? Like it's not the end of the world. I was raised by a mom who was like the best mom and also really embarrassing. Like the kind of mom that like, that kind of mom that like cheers too loud at cross country races, that kind of mom. And I think she just also raised me to be uncomfortable being embarrassed. And so no matter what the professional embarrassment was, it was like, okay, it's fine. That's fine. I'm just uncomfortable. It's no big deal. But I mean, rock bottom were like, the first year of Milk Bar, just like sleeping at the bakery, like getting no hours of sleep, asking for help, having no money, like all the things that you do. And yet at the same time, it also all made sense, or maybe said differently, I never questioned it, because I think when you set yourself on a path, you really have to let yourself be on a path, and you have to just keep going. You have to just keep going. Like every day, every hour is an opportunity to just advance and to just believe in like the stacking mentality of like you stack it up. It's little by little by little by little by little.
Was Milk Bar an instant success when you guys opened?
Kind of. I remember opening day, November 15th, 2008. I remember I had like gone home to like take a 30-minute shower and walk my dog and be like, okay, I got to turn around and come back in the middle of the night and start baking cookies and I remember, this was before social media. People were still using BlackBerries. Like the iPhone wasn't a thing. Not in the way that it is now. There was no Google Maps, you know what I mean? Like, I think you're probably using MapQuest or something. And I remember there was a line out the door and around the corner as I was going to open the gate. And I remember thinking, who are these people? Where are they coming from? They don't know who I am. They don't know us. They don't even know what they're waiting in line for. The beauty of a New York line, by the way. That still rings true. But, I think I was really smart and strategic about using Momofuku as my launch pad. And what people knew about Momofuku and the East Village was like, you were going to get loud food, loud flavors. There was a boldness. There was a heartbeat to it, right? Like it was real and it was emotional. And you could tell that we were leaving everything that we had on the plate every day, every service. And so I think people were queued up out of curiosity, but what was unclear was whether people would understand like, what is cereal milk? Would they be down for like a dense, gooey, underbaked pie? Would they want ground coffee and pretzels and potato chips and coffee in their cookie, right? Like I remember one woman being like, where are the cakes that Oprah's talking about are her favorite cakes? And I'm like, they're right there. And she's like, they look like spaceships, whereas they're not frosted on the sides. Are they done yet? And being like, no, yeah, they're done. Would you like a slice? That sort of thing. And very quickly, we got a lot of love really quickly. And I think that really helped contextualize who we were and what we were trying to do. And it gave people a way to understand what we were doing and to embrace it and to just come by and taste it. I think with any food, tasting is believing. You can't read about food. You have to eat it. You have to be there. You have to witness it. You have to see it. You have to smell it. And you have to take a bite to really get it. Yeah. And they got it. But I also think the democratization of dessert, right? Like everything that we do at Milk Bar still is like, it's a cookie, it's a cake, it's a pie, it's ice cream. So the leap of faith is not in format. They're all formats that you know and love and are really safe and ideally help make you feel like yourself. They bring you back, they bring you forward. It's in how we do it. The texture, the flavor stories, what we make possible in the formats and flavors that makes it really fun and curious and contagious.
That's what I was going to say. It's like you guys at Milk Bar have really redefined traditional desserts. And have blown people away with everything that you just mentioned, from the textures, what they taste like, to just everything that you guys do. What is cereal milk?
Cereal milk is a soft serve ice cream that we sell at Milk Bar, and it tastes like what's left in your bowl after you eat all the cereal out of it.
But when you're pouring it into coffee,
yes.
What is that? Is that literally like a milk?
Yeah. So we toast cornflakes, not because I think cornflakes are the best cereal, to be clear. Everyone has a favorite cereal. I have many favorite cereals, but it is the flavor of kind of all of the flavor of the idea of cereal milk. So we toast the cereal and then we make basically a giant bowl of cereal. So think like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids moment. We pour milk over it and it washes the flavor of the cereal into the milk below. But cereal milk is kind of the reason that Milk Bar is called Milk Bar. I had made it as like a plated dessert for one of the Momofuku restaurants. I had this idea and was eating it with Dave and we were like, oh, this is a thing. And I was like, it's cereal milk. Like he was like, what's it called? I was like, it's cereal milk. And it really, for me, was it's more than baked goods. And my idea for Milk Bar early on was, before we opened, was a modern day take on a Dairy Queen with like a bakery smushed in, right? So like this sort of roadside custard stand, soft Dairy Queen soft serve machine, roadside attraction, meshed with all of my favorite baked goods that I thought the world needed in their lives. And so sort of like Dairy Queen, Milk Bar, kind of like lived in that same sort of naming convention. And I liked that it was sort of simple and non-specific, but also clear. You know, I think great names do that.
Yeah, they do. I mean, milk, it's such a good name. And I mean, it's very sensory in a way too. Like everybody knows what milk tastes like, you know what I mean? And it's kind of just this word that evokes like a certain feeling. It's like hard to just explain, but it's just, it's good.
It's textural,
yes.
Or there's a viscosity and a creaminess.
Yes. It's like, it's nostalgic, which is like a play on kind of a lot of stuff that you guys do at Milk Bar. I said this to you on the run. I think one of the most impressive things that you've done is not only are you obviously an incredibly skilled chef, baker, cook, like all of the things, and you've studied at the highest level for, you know, the high dining and fine dining, whatever you want to call it, but you've also created this incredible brand that is now, is it international or just national?
Yeah, I guess it's international. Most of our presence is here in the US.
Right. So it's so cool to be able to sit across from you and just like the businesswoman that you are. It's amazing. You've written books, you've hosted shows, you've, you know, won so many awards for what you do. It's just, it's so impressive. You're a mom, you're really doing it all. So it's just, I could talk to you for hours.
Until our next run, my friends.
Until our next run.
We'll go on we'll go on like a half marathon run, and then we'll really catch up.
You know what?
On life.
I'll let you know when I'm in Nashville, and maybe we do a longer interview then.
Oh, I love that.
We can come set up shop. Maybe our run ends with you like teaching me how to bake one of the cookies.
We should do a bake club together.
That would be fun.
That's really it. Okay. Until then.
What's a piece of advice, Christina, that you have for our listeners today?
Here's the best advice that I live my day, week, month, year life with. And it's that the secret to life is always having something to look forward to. And that can be big, but it can also be small, like things that I'm looking forward to. Last night, things I was looking forward to. I get to go on a run and call it work. Then I get to eat cookies and call it work. Then I get to hang out with, you know, it is really celebrating these, it's really getting excited about little or big things that are on your near or super far out horizon, and like milking it, like really getting excited about it, because when you're in it, you experience it and appreciate it so much more. And then no matter, you're going to have this in a day, those waves are so easy to ride. The highs and the lows are so easy to ride because you're like, oh, I know what's coming up that I'm excited about. I'm not bothered by this. I'm not bothered by a little turbulence.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to Post Run High with Christina. Why don't you stop by Milk Bar after this episode and fuel yourself up with some cookies or cake or pie?
Oh, I brought you a slice of the pumpkin coffee cake from the bakery.
Let's go eat it.
There you go.